Who were the Samaritans? The scriptures are subject to numerous misunderstandings, and addressing them all would pose a significant challenge. Despite evidence to the contrary, individuals often cling to their preferred beliefs. For instance, I was taught for years that the Samaritans were non-Israelite Gentiles who had been incorporated into the Most High's family. But is that actually accurate? Gaining a deeper understanding of the truth requires being born again. This involves starting anew, letting go of preconceived notions, and instead relying solely on the teachings of the scriptures. In the upcoming video, I will delve into often overlooked historical context. It is crucial that you watch to the end to ensure that you do not miss any vital information. Additionally, please consider subscribing to support the channel. So let's start by reading John chapter 8, verse 48. Then answered the Jews and said unto him, Say we not well that thou art a Samaritan, and thou hast a devil? And Yeshua answered, I have not a devil, but I honor my Father, and you do dishonor me. Throughout his conflicts with the Pharisees, the predominant religious leaders of that era called Christ a devil and a Samaritan, intending to offend him. But why was the term Samaritan offensive? So to further understand who the Samaritans are, we have to read John chapter 4, verse 1. Wherefore the king knew how the Pharisees had heard how Yeshua made and baptized more disciples than John. Though Yeshua himself baptized not, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee, and he must needs go through Samaria. Then he come to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the parcel of ground that gave to his son Joseph. To gain a deeper understanding, let's examine verse 4, which states that it was necessary for Christ to travel through Samaria. The word must implies that he had to do it. Furthermore, in verse 5, we find the initial hint. Christ, or Yeshua, arrived in a city named Sychar, located near the plot of land that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Therefore, we must delve into the historical context to determine when Joseph received this land. So let's read Genesis 48, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, Behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And he told Jacob and said, Behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat on his bed. In Genesis 48, 1 and 2, Joseph receives word that his father is ill, and he takes his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to visit him. Hearing Joseph is coming, Jacob, who's also known as Israel, gathers his strength and sits on the bed. Verse 3, And Jacob said unto Joseph, Elohim Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. And he said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make thee a multitude of people, and I will give this land to thy seed after thee, for an everlasting possession. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which are born unto thee in the land of Egypt before I came to thee in Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. Jacob informs Joseph that his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, are now considered Jacob's own children, essentially becoming tribes of Israel in their own right. Verse 11, And Israel said unto Joseph, I had thought not to see thy face, and lo, Elohim has showed me thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand towards Israel's right hand. And he brought them near unto him. And when Joseph saw that his father laid the right hand upon Ephraim, it displeased him. And he held his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand on his head. And his father refused, and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He shall become a people, and he shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed him that day, saying, In thee shall Israel bless, saying, Elohim make thee as Ephraim and Manasseh, and set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said unto Joseph, Behold, I die, But Elohim shall be with you and bring you again into the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and my bow. After the children of Israel inherited land, it was divided into 12 portions. Jacob had 12 sons, but since the Levites were not allowed to inherit land, 2 portions were given to Joseph. One portion was given to Ephraim, and another portion was given to Manasseh. But Ephraim was greater than Manasseh. In other words, he had more children. So now back to the woman at the well. She and the Samaritans were in Sychar, the city near the land that Jacob gave to Joseph. Verse 7. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yeshua said unto her, Give me to drink. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Yeshua answered and said unto her, If thou knowest the gift of Elohim, and who it is that speak unto thee, Give me to drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence dost thou have this living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? It is now clearly evident that the Samaritans are descendants of Jacob, who were estranged from the rest of the Israelites. The Samaritan woman speaking to Christ or Yeshua questions his authority by asking if he thinks he's greater than their forefather Jacob, and that he's stating bold claims. Verse 19, the woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Yeshua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh, when ye shall neither worship in this mountain, nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. The woman said unto him, I know Messiah is come, which is called Christ, and when he come, he will teach us all things. Yeshua said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. During their conversation, the Samaritan woman tells Christ or Yeshua that her people worship in Samaria, while his people worship in Jerusalem. Yeshua responds by saying that the time will come when neither group will worship in those places, as they both will be driven out, referring to the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. Despite both Christ and the Samaritans being descendants of Jacob, the woman expresses surprise that he, a Jew, would ask a drink of her, a Samaritan, as the Jews, or the tribe of Judah, had no dealings with the Samaritans, the descendants of the other 10 tribes of Israel, as stated in John chapter 4, verse 9. To understand the reason for this division, we must delve into the historical content. While I will cover this in more detail in part 2 of this video, the root of the division dates back to ancient history. 1 Kings 16:29. In the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omri, to reign over Israel. And Ahab, the son of Omri, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. So we see that there was a king of Judah and there was a king of Israel. Now let's go to 2 Chronicles 13, verse 1. Now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam began Abijah to reign over Judah. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Micaiah, the daughter of Uriel of Gibeah. And there was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. Reading the Old Testament, we learn the kingdom of Israel was divided, with one king over Judah and another over Israel. This resulted in a divide between the nation of Israel, with one king ruling from Jerusalem and the other from Samaria. This explains why the Samaritan woman in the story said that her people worshipped in Samaria, while Judah claimed that Jerusalem was the place to worship. With a better understanding of the historical context, the story of the woman at the well, the parable of the Good Samaritans, Paul's writings, and particularly the book of Galatians should make more sense. Now let's read John chapter 11, verse 49. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and the whole nation perish not. And in this he spake not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yeshua should die for that nation. and not for that nation only, but also he should gather in one the children of Elohim that are scattered abroad. Caiaphas was a high priest who, although he was considered evil, had a prophecy that he did not fully comprehend. He did understand, however, that Christ or Yeshua's purpose was to die for the Jews and for the children of Israel scattered throughout the world, including the Samaritans. It is important to note that this sacrifice was not intended for the entire world, but rather for the bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who were considered the children of Elohim.